In the mighty name of Jesus, I pray. Holy, 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 singing holy moly. A 1-minute Bible play for students for the 8th of August. That's the anniversary of my loserness and winnerness. My life has served its purpose, I'm sure. The Lord continues with me, but August 8th, that's a great day for D. And lots of neat things happen on August 8th. I can't remember what I did this August 8th. But it had me distracted enough that I didn't think about it being August 8th. What did I do Saturday? I went to the men's breakfast. Last Saturday, so the previous Saturday. Did I go on a bike ride with Darren on August 8th? Maybe that was when we went on our bike ride. I guess if I look at a picture I took, it would tell me. So yeah, that was a good time, right? The 18th. The 8th. Yep, that was the day. Alright, so that's what we did. And I didn't even have to think about the sadnesses or the glee of that day at other points in my life. And so today, August 8th, 1-minute Bible for students. Saul becomes jealous of David. Jonathan was an example of loyalty. He was loyal to God and to his friends. His friendship with David is one of the greatest models for friendship found within the Bible. Hello? Jonathan's ultimate loyalty began with God, and because of his strong relationship with God, Jonathan was able to gain God's wisdom. And Jonathan is a great example for anyone to follow, and he was unselfish, set a high standard for friendship. A friend like Jonathan is difficult to find. If you have a loyal and unselfish friend, be sure to express your appreciation today. A loyal friendship is definitely worth fighting for. Let me check the audio level. In the mighty name of Jesus, at least it's working. I pray. Maybe that was when friends. Really loyalty began with God, and because of his strong relationship, to express your appreciation today. A loyal friendship is definitely worth fighting right in there. Okay. I'll try and do it like this then. Put my microphone higher. It wobbles. When David had finished speaking with Saul, Jonathan committed himself to David, loved him as much as he loved himself. And Saul kept David with him from that day on and did not let him return to his father's house. Jonathan made a covenant with David because he loved him as much as himself. Then Jonathan removed the robe he was wearing and gave it to David, along with his military tunic, his sword, his bow, and his belt. And David marched out with the army and was successful in everything Saul sent him to do. Saul put him in command of his soldiers, which pleased all the people and Saul's servants as well. As David was returning from killing the Philistine, the woman came out from all the cities of Israel to meet King Saul, singing and dancing with tambourines, with shouts of joy, and with 3 stringed instruments as they celebrated the women's women sang. I turned up my microphone. Let's see if that will help. I don't know. Hello, hello, and then it sing, and it goes into red, and it probably overblasted, but we'll try it out. Wow, what did I say to you? Pleased all the people and David with his military, and they sing. Saul has killed his thousands. Oh, it says, as David was returning the killing of the Philistine, and the singing and the dancing and the tambourines, the shouts of joy and the three-stringed instruments, as they celebrated, the women sang. Saul has killed his thousands, but David is 10,000s. Saul was furious and resented this song. They credited tens of thousands to David, he complained, but they only credited me with thousands. What more can he have but the kingdom? So Saul watched David jealously from that day forward. 1 Samuel 18, 1-9. Oh yeah, grand. I got credited with murdering tens of thousands of people. Joy. You know, we all value different things. God's little devotional book. If at first you don't succeed, try reading the instructions. Take fast hold of instruction and let her not go. Keep her, for she is thy life. Proverbs 4:13. Young Ensign had nearly completed his first overseas tour of duty when he was given an opportunity to display his ability at getting the ship underway. With a stream of crisp commands, he had the decks buzzing with men, and soon the ship had left port and was steaming out of the channel. The ensign's efficiency had been remarkable. In fact, the deck was abuzz with talk that he had set a new record for getting the destroyer underway. The ensign glowed in his accomplishment and was not at all that surprised when another seaman approached him with a message from the captain. He was, however, a bit surprised to find that it was a radio message, and he was even more surprised when he read, "My personal congratulations upon completing your underway preparation exercise according to the book and with amazing speed. In your haste, however, you have overlooked one of the unwritten rules. Make sure the captain is aboard before getting underway." God's manual for life, the Bible, is our set of instructions for getting our lives underway. But we must never become so bound to the book that we forget the author of it and the relationship he desires to have with us on the voyage. Silly boys. At the name of Jesus, new name of Jesus for today, which is the 8th of August. And Jesus is persecuted. In his early life, he was harassed, grieved, tortured, and put to violent death. Today, in many parts of the world, Jesus is still persecuted in his body on earth. And Jesus says, "Father, forgive them. They don't know what they are doing. Love those who have not experienced my love as you have. Pray for them to see in you, as Saul saw in Stephen, a light and reality which persecution and even death cannot stamp out. Remember the word that I said to you. A slave is not greater than his master. If they persecuted me, they will also persecute you. If they kept my word, they will keep yours also. But all these things they will do to you for my name's sake, because they do not know the one who sent me." John 15, 20 and 21. John 15, 20 and 21. Oh, don't knock over my... I cannot have my fan knocked over. I gotta have my breeze going. Spring's in the valley for the 8th of August. He shall come down like rain upon the mown grass. I wonder how they mowed the grass in the old days without a lawnmower. How grateful the soft rain must feel to the mown grass, all cut as it is and as we imagine it, so sore. But the rain is healing, and so God says he will come to his people. Like rain upon the mown grass, there is so much in life that is like a cutting machine, and the heart becomes sore and needs healing influences that come from God. No matter what we may call that which is healing to us, it is God coming like rain upon the mown grass. And may it not be with us as with the beautiful lawns we admire. The more cutting and the more rain, the more beautiful we shall be. But it must not be one but both. The absence of joy does not mean the absence of God. The pruned vine does not suggest an absent vine dresser. Even if the vine is bleeding, it does not mean that he has gone away. The mower's scythe had passed over summer fields. The grass lay bleeding neath the summer sun. Strong hands swift stored the harvest's wealthy yields, and left the fields deserted one by one. Their glory gone, their beauty swept away, still smarting from the swift, keen cut of death. Their woe, the sharp, short work of one brief day, that dawned with sunshine in its balmy breath. Methought they pleaded to the gentle sky, that smiled above them, bending over their grief, a voiceless pleading and a tearless cry, a soundless sob, soft sighing for relief. And heaven heard the fervor of their call, and sent them healing balm at eventide, sweet raindrops breathing blessing in their fall, and weeping gently over their wounded pride. And thus shall he come as rain on new mown grass, and withered hopes spring up the grace his path. New life be born where'er his footsteps pass, and tender grass spring forth, God's aftermath. Francis Brooke. I feel like saying Sir Francis Brooke, but I don't know that. My. You enjoy that? Das Bootsen. El torchon deliriardot, tegintor fieno sorignorane, portino sont marianos. No, I have no idea. Sorry, I didn't intend to do tonguing for you. I refrained from that for the public. Oh, it's a short day today. It's a gift from the Lord. It's my wonderful, emotional August 8th. But look, the better gift is that it's not the 8th. It's really the 17th. And I had such a wonderful day that day. Here is some commentary on Daniel, the faithful captive. While Jeremiah is having his problems with Jehoiakim, several captives in Babylon are being singled out for duty in the king's service. The requirement for their selection are unusually demanding, and to be chosen would be considered an honor even under normal circumstances. Among those chosen is a young man by the name of Daniel. Oh boy, yeah, let's go become eunuchs. Who distinguishes himself by refusing to eat food or drink wine from Nebuchadnezzar's royal table. For this act of faith, Daniel and 3 others with him are exceptionally blessed by God, eunuchs. After 3 years of special training, they, as eunuchs, enter the king's service and are found to excel in understanding, as eunuchs, whenever Nebuchadnezzar inquires of them. Anyway, Daniel. The king ordered Ashpenaz, chief of his court officials, to bring in some of the Israelites from the royal family and the nobility. Young men without any physical defect, handsome, showing aptitude for every kind of yearning, well-informed, quick to understand, and qualified to serve in the king's palace. He was to teach them the language and literature of the Babylonians. The king assigned them a daily amount of food and wine. From the king's table they were being trained for 3 years. And after that they were to enter the king's service as eunuchs. It doesn't say that, but it does elsewhere somewhere. I mean, off with their heads. Among these were some from Judah: Daniel, Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah. The chief official gave them new names to Daniel the name Belteshazzar, to Hananiah, Shadrach, to Mishael, Meshach, and to Azariah, Abednego. Those are the names you know them by. And isn't it interesting? We always know them by their names they were given to after eunuchized and sent off to be slaves. But I digress. But Daniel resolved not to defile himself with the royal food and wine, and asked the chief official for permission not to defile himself in this way. Now God had caused the official to show favor and sympathy to Daniel, but the official told Daniel, I am afraid of my own lord the king, who has assigned your food and drink. Why should he see you looking worse than the other young men at your age? The king would then have my head because of you. Daniel then said to the guard, whom the chief official had appointed over Daniel, Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah, please tell your servants for 10 days, give us nothing but vegetables to eat and water to drink, and then compare our appearance with that of the young men who eat the royal food. And treat your servants in accordance with what you see. And so he agreed to this and tested them for 10 days. At the end of 10 days, they looked healthier and better nourished than any of the young men who ate the royal food. So the guard took away their choice of food and wine, and they were to drink and give them vegetables instead. Now, I got a theory on this. The other slaves went to a keto diet and lost their water weight, and so they looked thin. And these guys ate their vegetables, which were carbs, and ended up bloating out. So they looked thicker. Anyhow, to these 4 young men, God gave knowledge and understanding of all kinds of literature and learning. And Daniel could understand visions and dreams of all kinds. And at the end of this time set by the king to bring them in, the chief official presented them to Nebuchadnezzar. The king talked with them and found none equal to Daniel, Hananiah, Mishael, or Azariah. So they entered the king's service. In every matter of wisdom and understanding about which the king questioned them, he found them 10 times better than all the magicians and enchanters in his whole kingdom. Some commentary on this dream. It's apparently not long after he has entered the king's service that Daniel is elevated to a high position in Nebuchadnezzar's palace as a result of his identifying and interpreting a dream. The event is said to have taken place in the 2nd year of Nebuchadnezzar's reign, but it obviously must have been in the 2nd year of his sole reign after a time of shared rule with his aging father Nabopolassar. Nebuchadnezzar's wise men are willing to interpret the dream if only the king will reveal it to them. But Nebuchadnezzar is smarter than that, and so he demands that the dream first be repeated to him. And when Daniel learns of the dream, he seizes the occasion as an opportunity to glorify God, volunteers to tell the king the dream and its meaning. The dream is of a statue made of different metals, gold, silver, bronze, and iron, and of a stone which breaks the statue. Daniel's interpretation, through God's revelation, is that there will be a succession of 4 kingdoms before the coming of an everlasting kingdom. Later history will reveal that in the symbolism of the statue, reference is probably being made to Nebuchadnezzar's own Babylonian empire, and then to a Medo-Persian empire, followed by a Grecian empire, and finally by a Roman empire, east and west, during which time the kingdom of Messiah will have its beginning. Here is the account of the marvelous foretelling of events to take place in centuries to come. In the 2nd year of his reign, Nebuchadnezzar had dreams. His mind was troubled, and he could not sleep. And so the king summoned the magicians, enchanters, sorcerers, and astrologers to tell him what he had dreamed. When they came in and stood before the king, he said to them, I have had a dream that troubles me, and I want to know what it means. Then the astrologers answered the king in Aramaic, O king, live forever. Tell your servants the dream, and we will interpret it. The king replied to the astrologers, This is what I have firmly decided. If you do not tell me what my dream was and interpret it, I will have you cut into pieces and your houses turned into piles of rubble. But if you tell me the dream and explain it, you will receive from me gifts and rewards and great honor. And so tell me the dream and interpret it for me. And once more they replied, Let the king tell his servants the dream, and we will interpret it. Then the king answered, I am certain that you are trying to gain time because you realize that this is what I have firmly decided. If you do not tell me the dream, there is just one penalty for you. You have conspired to tell me misleading and wicked things, hoping the situation will change. So then tell me the dream, and I will know that you can interpret it for me. The astrologers answered the king, There is not a man on earth who can do what the king asks. No king, however great and mighty, has ever asked such a thing of any magician or enchanter or astrologer. What the king asks is too difficult, and so one can reveal it to the king except the gods, and they do not live among men. This made the king so angry and furious that he ordered the execution of all the wise men of Babylon. And so the decree was issued to put the wise men to death. The men were sent to look for Daniel and his friends to put them to death. When Arioch, commander of the king's guard, had gone out to put to death the wise men of Babylon, Daniel spoke to him with wisdom and tact. He asked the king's officer, Why did the king issue such a harsh decree? Arioch then explained the matter to Daniel. At this, Daniel went into the king and asked for time so that he might interpret the dream for him. Then Daniel returned to his house and explained the matter to his friends Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah. He urged them to plead for mercy from God of heaven concerning this mystery, and so that he and his friends might not be executed with the rest of the wise men of Babylon. During the night, the mystery was revealed to Daniel in a vision. And then Daniel praised the God of heaven and said, Praise be to the name of God forever and ever. Close enough. His love endures forever. His love endures forever. He changes times and seasons. He sets up kings and opposes them. He gives wisdom to the wise and knowledge to the discerning. He reveals deep and hidden things. He knows what lies in darkness, and light dwells within him. I thank and praise you, O God of my fathers. You've given me wisdom and power. You've made known to me what we asked of you. You made known to us the dream of the king. He did for me. I asked him something once. Well, I intended to, and I fiddled around in my head. I couldn't get my head straight and clear to listen. And I fuddled around so long trying to make my prayer correct that I entirely forgot what my prayer was. And so I just shut up, and he gave me the answer. Then Daniel went to Arioch, whom the king had appointed to execute the wise men of Babylon, and he said to him, Do not execute the wise men of Babylon. Take me to the king, and I will interpret his dream for him. Arioch took Daniel to the king at once and said, I found a man among the exiles from Judah who can tell the king what his dream means. The king asked Daniel, also called Belteshazzar, Are you able to tell me what I saw in my dream and interpret it? Daniel replied, No wise man, enchanter, magician, or diviner can explain to the king the mystery he has asked about. But there is a God in heaven who reveals mysteries, and he has shown King Nebuchadnezzar what will happen in days to come. Your dream and the visions that pass through your mind as you lay on your bed are these. As you were lying there, O king, your mind turned to things to come, and the revealer of mysteries showed you what is going to happen. As for me, this mystery has been revealed to me, not because I have greater wisdom than other living men, but so that you, O king, may know the interpretation, and that you may understand what went through your mind. You looked, O king, and there before you stood a large statue, an enormous dazzling statue, awesome in appearance. The head of the statue was made of pure gold, its chest and arms of silver, its belly and thighs of bronze, its legs of iron, its feet partly of iron and partly of baked clay. And while you were watching, a rock was cut out, but not by human hand. It struck the statue on its feet of iron and clay and smashed them. Then the iron and the clay and the bronze and the silver and the gold were broken into pieces, At a time it became like chaff on the threshing floor in the summer. The wind swept them away without leaving a trace, but the rock that struck the statue became a huge mountain and filled the whole earth. And this was the dream, and now we will interpret it to you, King. You, O King, are the King of kings, and the God of heaven has given you dominion and power and might and glory in your hands, as has placed mankind and the beasts of the field and the birds of the air. Wherever they live, he has made you ruler over them all. You are the head of gold. And after you, another kingdom will rise, inferior to yours. Next, a third kingdom, one of bronze, will rule over the whole earth. Finally, there will be a fourth kingdom, strong as iron, for iron breaks and smashes everything. And as iron breaks things to pieces, so it will crush and break all the others, just as you saw that the feet and toes were partially baked clay and partly of iron. And so this will be the divided kingdom, yet it will have some of the strength of iron in it. Even as you saw iron mixed with clay, as the toes were partly iron and partly clay, so this kingdom will be partly strong and partly brittle. And just as you saw the iron mixed with baked clay, so the people will be a mixture and will not remain united any more than iron mixes with clay. In the time of those kings, the God of heaven will set up a kingdom that will never be destroyed, nor will it ever be let to another people. It will crush all those kingdoms and bring them to an end, but it will itself endure forever. And ever and ever. I lost my spot. This is the meaning of the vision of the rock cut out of a mountain, but not by human hands. A rock that broke the iron, the bronze, the clay, the silver, and the gold to pieces. The great God has shown the king what will take place in the future. The dream is true, and the interpretation is trustworthy. Then King Nebuchadnezzar fell prostrate before Daniel and paid him honor, and ordered that an offering and incense be presented to him. And the king said to Daniel, "Surely your God is the God of gods and the Lord of kings, and a revealer of mysteries, for you were able to reveal this mystery." Then the king placed Daniel in a high position and lavished many gifts on him. He made him ruler over the entire province of Babylon and placed him in charge of all its wise men. Moreover, David requested the king appointed Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego administrators over the province of Babylon, while Daniel himself remained at the royal court. Common trap? Nebuchadnezzar is impressed, but he is still not a full believer in the true God, nor is he going to relent in his oppression of Daniel's kinsmen. Furthermore, it does not appear that Daniel's high position in Babylon enables him to speak forcefully on behalf of his fellow countrymen, because the historical record now reflects further deportations from Judah to Babylonia.